The most important business decision in this story was not choosing the right startup idea or chasing the next big trend. It was deciding to define success personally instead of letting failure be dictated by outcomes, money, or public milestones. That choice shaped every move that followed and completely changed what winning looked like. This business and life story was shared by Reddit user Suspicious Yard 6966 on May 7, 2025, and it reads less like a straight line to success and more like a long series of intentional experiments. At 19, the journey began with a startup built on ambition and idealism. A team of 15 was assembled. The goal was to change the world, and the confidence felt real. The result, however, was the first failure. At 21 in 2016, the response was not to double down on another startup, but to leave home with no money and take to the road, believing that travel itself would reveal the right idea. Hitchhiking across countries, surviving through the kindness of strangers, and clinging to the belief that great founders find clarity while wandering eventually led to another quiet collapse. No breakthrough arrived. Over time, movement itself became home. 2 years passed without money, followed by a year riding a moped, and eventually a new dream emerged, living in a van. Everything possible was done to make that happen. Crowdfunding campaigns were launched and edited by hand. Tea and toys were sold on the roadside. Content was written, Airbnbs were managed, delivery shifts were worked, and every stranger encountered heard about the van dream. Even running a food truck as a chef became part of the plan, not for passion, but because it moved the goal one step closer. Eventually, the van was purchased. A year of physical labor followed, turning it into a livable home through sweat, persistence, and patience. That van became home for 3 years. During that time, strangers were hosted, meals were shared, stories were exchanged, and deep connections were formed. Love appeared in many forms, toward others and toward oneself. Volunteering in remote places became part of daily life. And then, just as intentionally as it was built, the van was sold. The next vision was opening a hostel in Goa, India. The idea was simple: create a place centered on people, stories, and shared experience. But despite relentless searching, dealing with brokers, and asking everyone for space, local power structures made the plan impossible. That chapter ended too. As technology surged forward, attention turned to artificial intelligence. A company was co-founded, a product was built, and investors were pitched. Slowly, it became clear that product market fit simply did not exist. Instead of forcing it forward, the decision was made to step away. Another failure on paper. That pattern forced a deeper question. Who is this actually for? The answer had always been consistent: hosting people, listening to stories, cooking together, laughing, crying, sharing silence. Minimalism was not an aesthetic choice, but a lived reality. 2 black t-shirts rotated for months, 2 dhotis worn for years, traveling without a phone, and drawing maps by hand. Sustainability, simplicity, and community were not trends, but core values. So the next dream formed, grounded instead of mobile: buying a farm, building a mud house, growing a food forest, becoming self-sustainable, staying physically strong, cooking South Indian food for guests, hosting strangers again, and maybe building something at the intersection of food, fitness, and community. The remaining question was funding. The answer turned out to be something that had quietly supported everything all along: writing. Over more than 8 years, writing had paid the bills while everything else changed. It funded the nomadic years without fanfare. Roles shifted: writer, teacher, manager, artist, waiter, driver, whatever the moment required. Along the way came ghostwriting and autobiography, contributing to a PhD thesis on abortion rights, and building personal brands for founders and leaders. Writing never disappeared, it simply waited. Now, the belief is clear. The farm will happen, the projects will come, the work will fund something rooted after years spent moving. And when looking back, the question shifts from, how many times did this fail? To, was any of it actually failure at all? A Success turns out to be subjective. For some, it is valuation, scale, or exits. Here, success is the freedom to try different lives, to pivot without regret, and to learn deeply from each chapter. These experiences taught more than any linear path could have, and none of them would be traded away. This story is shared for anyone chasing success and wondering why it looks nothing like the picture they were promised. Sometimes the unconventional path is not a detour. It is the point.